Welcome back to the channel. So something a little different today than the model engines. If you were watching the channel, you can remember that I mentioned earlier that I blew up my lawnmower. It broke the rod, locked the rod up on the crankshaft on the big end. So I want to go over, I've got another engine that I've tore down that is of unknown condition, and I'm going to rebuild this engine, and then I'm going to go over just some of the steps, some of the machining and measuring and stuff that's going to be involved in rebuilding this engine. Okay, so I got this engine, like I said, it was missing some parts. It had been robbed off of. It was just a random engine that my dad ended up with. It was missing carburetor and the points and some other stuff, but there was enough stuff there that I could rebuild it for an engine to go back in the Cub Cadet. So the first thing that I did was I wanted to assess everything. So I tore the engine down, which I didn't show any of, but it's pretty straightforward. The one thing that I did need to make a special tool for was this clutch basket. So this mounts on the crankshaft on the front, and then your mechanical clutch goes into here. So I had to make a tool in order to pull this off. So if you look in here, there are 2 set screws. So, and I didn't come up with this idea. I've seen a picture of this tool before, but basically what you need is some sort of a round section or a hub that'll go onto here. And then I have 2 threaded holes here, 90 degrees apart. And then these threaded holes fit into where, take these set screws out, and then they screw into these 2 set screw holes. And then, sorry, it goes like this. The clearance holes go for another bolt. This bolt screws into the threaded holes. These other 2 I just threaded, and I just put a little bit of light pressure against this hub just to keep this thing centered up. And I did have to machine out this center section here so that it was a good fit on this. So once you get that bolted on there good and tight, then I just TIG welded a nut on the top, and I took the center bolt out of another puller that I've got and put it on there and pulled this pulley and hub off. Like I say, that's really the only part that might be a little bit tricky, but if you make a puller like this with 2 threaded holes 90 degrees apart, and then 2 clearance holes, same size bolt, and then these 2 thread into the set screw holes like that, and then just some sort of a nut on there that you can put pressure on, then you can get that pulled off. The timing cover, I did have to put a puller on it to pull it off, but it has 2 threaded holes in here. So I put threaded stud in here, all thread, and then a bar, and then just a nut, and then pulled this off. It was a little bit tight. I didn't want to bend it or break it because it is aluminum. So it's probably a little bit too tight to pull off, to try to pull it off with some pry bars or something. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Everything else just comes right apart, and I would recommend bagging everything and labeling it. So like these are the timing cover bolts, and then this is the covers for the points and for the cam gear. This makes it a lot easier to put everything back together if you've got it kind of organized and separated. And then we won't be reusing these, but I've got the old piston and rod out of here. So like I say, I just like to bag everything and label it. So I cleaned the block up, got it in the parts washer, washed everything, and I've got it torn down, got the valves out of it. Could be a little bit tricky if you don't have the right tool. you need a tool to come in here and compress this up so that you can get the keepers off of it. I'm going to leave the cam gear in it unless I need to take it out. It's actually, there's a plug that you have to pull out. This is pressed in, so it's got good end play on it, and there's part of the governor system. So if I need to take that out, I will, but I'm going to try to leave that in there. It's in good condition. I don't see any purpose in pulling it out. So I got everything else out of it, the seals. So the first thing that I want to do is assess if this is still standard, if it's ever been bored, and if there is wear in it, which I assume that there is going to be, how much wear we have, and then what size oversized piston to get in order to clean this thing up. So you can get the manual online, the specifications. So the bore here should be from a 3.255 to a 3.2515, and then before reboring you can have about 5 thousandths out of round. So to measure that, I've set up a 3 to 4 inch micrometer, and then we've got our dial bore gauge with a 3.250 stack on here. So you want to put this dial bore gauge in between your micrometer here, and then rock it around and zero that out. So right there's the highest point. I've set my zero. So then we can go in here and measure a few different points in the bore. So it looks like we're anywhere from like 3 thousandths to, there was some spots that I was measuring 6 thousandths. So you want to check it also 90 degrees and 180 degrees apart. Kind of check it all over. So it's good. This one is, and which is typical, there's a lot more wear at the top than there is at the bottom. See if I can get you where you can see that. So right there's about 5 thousandths. So like I say, the largest that I found was about 6 thousandths wear. So I think I'm going to go ahead and get I know I'm going to go ahead and get a plus 20 piston. There's a plus 10, 20, 30. I'm a little bit worried if a plus 10, since it's 6 thousandths over in some spots, would clean up good. So I'm going to go ahead and get a plus 20 because I know that that'll get cleaned up good. So I'll get this to the machine shop and we'll get it bored and honed. The next thing that I checked that you want to check is the crankshaft. So what we're looking for is the wear on this main journal here. And we'll want to measure it 180 degrees and probably 90 degrees from that just to check it out good. So there are specifications for this. We should be measuring 1.4995 to 1.5, and then our maximum out of round is 1.5 thou before you'd want to turn it down. So just take a mic here and we'll check this in a few different spots. So we're getting about 1.498 on that one. And I've checked it in a few different spots, and it does have some wear to it, and it is a little bit. It's maximum 1.5 thou out of round, which is exactly where the maximum is. So I'm gonna go ahead and run this with just standard size bearings. You could get this turned down and get a 10 thousandths or 20 thousandths. I think they make undersized bearing here, but I'm good with what we've got here. So that all looks good. The bearings, although this one's dry right now, but the bearings are all good. It's got pretty good size, beefy ball bearings that this crankshaft rides in. So I'm happy with all of that. We'll get this board and get it honed out, and then we'll also measure these valve guides. You can put new valve guides in there. So we'll take a ball gauge and get down in here, and then we'll mic that and measure what these valve guides are. Just check them out, and I'll probably get them to just touch up these seats while we're at the machine shop. And I do have new valves for this. So one bit of machining that we will be doing, and I'll show this a little bit later, I am gonna set this head up and just skim cut this to get this surface back flat. I've taken a straight edge and put on it, and also put it on the surface plate, and it's got a little bit of a dip in it, and then you can kind of even see it in the fins here, which I had another head. This is actually not the head that came off of this engine, because the head that came off this engine was even worse in this section here, and I put it on the surface plate, and you didn't even need a flashlight to see the gap that was under it. It had a pretty good warp to it, and I think that's pretty common with these heads. They are aluminum, and this is on the exhaust side, so it gets a lot of heat over here. But I will set this up and just skim cut it enough to get a good flat surface there so that we can get a good seal. So for the rebuild kit, I went ahead and, which I think is a pretty good deal, I got the master engine rebuild kit, and I'll go over what all's in that. And then I did get this off of eBay, but it comes from littleredbarn.net. You can check out their website there. So we'll go over everything that comes in the kit. So first of all, there is a piston, and then like I say, I'm going to go with the 20 thousandths overbore. So you do get the piston pin clips and rings. So these are new clips here, new wrist pin, which we'll discuss in a second. New piston, pretty standard looking. And then I wanted to get this because I do want to go ahead and have the machine shop measure this when they bore it, just to set the piston to wall clearance to what it needs to be. I know what the clearance is supposed to be per the manual, so just in case I want to go ahead and fit the piston to the block, you should be able to bore it. It's 3250. We bore it 20 thousandths over to 3270. And that should put the clearance where it needs to be, but I wanted to have the piston to go ahead and measure it and check it just in case it needs to be a little bit slightly bigger or smaller by a few tenths to get our clearance where it needs to be. And then we get our rings, and then we'll go over which way to install all of these rings when I go to put this back together. There's a different top and second ring, and then we'll need to check the end gap on these. So I was happy with all that. The only thing I wasn't sure about was the wrist pin. I noticed is extremely thicker wall than what the stock wrist pin is. And then I did measured the assembly of the connecting rod with the rings and the pin and the clip in it and the piston. And there's about a 60 gram difference actually between each assembly. So I went ahead and took the old assembly apart and then measured into each thing individually, and everything's within a few grams except the pin. It's all the extra weight is in this pin. It's about 60 grams heavier than what the stock pin is. But for this being a single cylinder, low RPM application, I don't think that that's going to affect the balance of the crankshaft enough to really cause any issues. If this was a twin cylinder or 4-cylinder, 8-cylinder engine, so you was doing 60 grams on all of it and you were turning it a lot higher RPM, then I would be worried and I would have to try to get the crank rebalanced. But I think it'll be be fine for what we're doing for this. So you get the new piston pin, clips and rings. And then most importantly, we got a new connecting rod because that's what broke in the old engine. So it is an aluminum rod. And then we'll measure all this and check all of our bearing clearances. Well, there's not really a bearing in here, it just rides on this aluminum. There's not a bearing insert. But we'll check all of our clearances once we get it machined and start putting everything back together. And then I think I do have to trim a little bit off of this. Some of these K241 Kohler engines use, I guess in the configuration of the oil pan, they can use a longer dipper here, but the one that I took out is a lot shorter. So I think this will hit the oil pan, so I'll probably have to trim a little bit off of this. But other than that, this should work good. So we got the new piston and the new rod. That's the main things that we needed replaced. Help if I put that back on the end there. So then we've got a new intake and a new exhaust valve in this kit. And then you also get a new set of points and a condenser and a Champion spark plug. Then we got a new head gasket. And then we've got an entire gasket set for the entire engine, all of the seals. Looks like for the carburetor here, this goes in the baffle for the breather. We got new crankshaft seals, timing cover seals, oil pan gasket, and then timing cover gaskets. And there's a few of these because we'll have to possibly adjust to set our end play on our crankshaft once we put that back together. So I think there's a few different thickness gaskets in there. So this should be all the gaskets that we need. So gaskets, head gasket, valves, ignition, piston, and connecting rod. So that's what I plan on putting new into it for now. So like I say, that's from the Little Red Barn. So I'm gonna get this black block to the machine shop. We'll go ahead and get it bored and honed, and then we'll get it back and get it cleaned up, and then we'll go I'll go over and on the next video some stuff to measure when we're starting to assemble this thing. We'll go ahead and check our clearance again, piston to wall clearance. We'll check the clearance on the connecting rod to the mains. We'll need to lap in these valves, just sort of check everything over, and then we'll set up and machine this cylinder head here and get it good and flat and start getting this engine back together. So that's going to do it for now. Thanks for watching.